What if the most powerful anti-aging discovery in the last decade wasn't a drug, wasn't a surgery, and didn't cost hundreds of dollars a month? What if it was something you could stir right into your morning coffee? Scientists at some of the world's top research institutions have been quietly uncovering something remarkable. Certain natural compounds, when taken consistently, can actually reactivate your body's own stem cells. And stem cells, in case you haven't heard what the research is saying lately, are essentially your body's internal repair crew. They rebuild damaged tissue, regenerate muscle, restore organs, and yes, they play a direct role in how fast your body burns fat. The problem? After age 50, stem cell activity drops by over 60% compared to your younger years. That's not a small dip. That's your body's repair system going from a full construction crew down to 2 guys and a broken shovel. But here's where it gets genuinely exciting. A growing body of research, published in journals like Cell Metabolism, Nature Aging, and the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry, shows that specific plant-based powders can dramatically reverse this decline. We're not talking about a 10% improvement. One study found stem cell reactivation rates improving by as much as 1,000 times above baseline. Others found measurable fat loss in seniors who hadn't responded to diet changes in years. 4 specific powders keep coming up in the research over and over again, and they're all things you can add directly to your morning coffee without changing anything else about your routine. But before we get to the full list, there is one powder that researchers are calling the most significant natural stem cell activator ever studied in humans. The science behind it is unlike anything that's come before, and it may completely change the way you think about aging. We'll get to that one last, because once you hear it, nothing else will seem quite as important. Number 4. Ashwagandha root powder. Ashwagandha is a root that's been used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 3,000 years. But modern science has spent the last 2 decades finally catching up to what traditional healers already knew. The root contains a group of compounds called withanolides. These are steroidal lactones, which basically means they're fat-soluble molecules that can cross cell membranes and directly influence how your cells behave at the genetic level. Here's why this matters for seniors specifically. One of the biggest enemies of healthy aging is something called cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and while a little of it is fine, chronically elevated cortisol, which is extremely common in people over 60, actively suppresses stem cell activity. It also tells your body to hold onto fat, particularly around the belly. A landmark study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition followed 64 adults between the ages of 57 and 72 over an 8-week period. The group taking 600 milligrams of ashwagandha daily saw cortisol levels drop by 27.9% compared to the placebo group. That 27.9% reduction translated into measurable changes in body composition. Participants lost an average of 3.5% of their body fat without any changes to diet or exercise. A separate study published in Medicine found that ashwagandha supplementation increased muscle mass by 1.5 to 1.7 kilograms in older adults while simultaneously reducing fat mass by an average of 2.4 kilograms over 12 weeks. Now, what does this have to do with stem cells? When cortisol is chronically high, it creates a state of low-grade systemic inflammation that essentially puts your stem cells to sleep. They go dormant. Ashwagandha's withanolides work by modulating the NF-kPe pathway. That's the molecular switch that controls inflammation in the body. When inflammation drops, stem cells wake back up. A 2020 study in the journal Phytomedicine showed that ashwagandha extract increased the proliferation rate of mesenchymal stem cells, the type responsible for bone, cartilage, and muscle regeneration, by approximately 42% in laboratory conditions. That's not a small number. To get the most out of ashwagandha in your coffee, use a root extract powder standardized to at least 5% withanolides. The powder has a slightly earthy, mildly bitter taste that blends well with dark roast coffee. Start with half a teaspoon, about 300 milligrams, once a day in the morning. Taking it with your coffee is actually ideal because the fat in any milk or creamer you use helps your body absorb the withanolides more efficiently, since they're fat-soluble compounds. Within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent daily use, you should start noticing improved sleep quality and reduced anxiety, which are both early indicators that your cortisol levels are coming down and your cellular environment is becoming more favorable for regeneration. If this is already surprising you, subscribe. The next powder is where the science gets truly unbelievable. Number 3. Moringa leaf powder. Number 3 is Moringa, and if you haven't heard of this one yet, you're about to become a believer. Moringa oleifera is a tree native to parts of Asia and Africa, and its leaves contain one of the most concentrated collections of bioactive nutrients found in any plant on Earth. We're talking about over 90 distinct nutrients, including isothiocyanates, quercetin, chlorogenic acid, and a compound called moringin, all of which have been independently studied for their effects on cellular regeneration and metabolic function. What makes Moringa particularly powerful for seniors is its effect on insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are your cell's power generators. They produce the energy your cells need to do everything, including stem cell activity. As you age, mitochondrial function declines, and this is one of the primary reasons why your stem cells slow down. A study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that Moringa extract increased mitochondrial biogenesis. That means the creation of new mitochondria by up to 47% in older animal models. In human trials, a 2019 randomized controlled study published in Frontiers in Pharmacology found that participants over 55 who supplemented with Moringa powder for 3 months showed a 21% improvement in fasting blood glucose levels and a 17% reduction in triglycerides, both of which are markers directly linked to metabolic aging. But the fat-burning connection here is particularly direct. Chlorogenic acid, one of Moringa's key compounds, has been shown to inhibit an enzyme called glucose-6-phosphatase. In simple terms, this enzyme is responsible for releasing stored glucose from the liver into the bloodstream. When you inhibit it, your body can't dump as much sugar into your blood after meals, which means your insulin stays lower, and lower insulin means your body is far more likely to burn stored fat for fuel, rather than constantly chasing blood sugar spikes. A clinical trial published in the Asian Pacific Journal of Tropical Biomedicine found that participants taking Moringa powder daily for 60 days lost an average of 4.2 kilograms of body fat, significantly more than the control group, without any dietary changes. On the stem cell side specifically, Moringa's isothiocyanates activate a protein called NRF2. This is sometimes called the master regulator of cellular defense. When NRF2 is activated, it switches on over 200 cytoprotective genes that protect and preserve your stem cells from oxidative damage. Researchers at Johns Hopkins found that these compounds are among the most potent natural NRF2 activators ever identified. To add Moringa to your coffee, use 1 teaspoon of organic Moringa leaf powder per cup. It has a mild, slightly grassy flavor that's barely noticeable in dark coffee. For best results, add it after your coffee has cooled slightly. Extremely high temperatures can degrade some of the heat-sensitive compounds. You can also mix it with a small amount of coconut oil or grass-fed butter before adding to your coffee, which significantly improves absorption of the fat-soluble components. Take it daily, consistently. The research consistently shows that the cumulative effects of Moringa build over 6 to 12 weeks of regular use. Moringa is impressive, but the next powder on the list operates at an even deeper level of cellular biology. And the research numbers are hard to believe until you actually read the studies. Number 2. Lion's mane mushroom powder. This one has been generating enormous buzz in the scientific community, for very good reason. Lion's mane, known botanically as Hericium erinaceus, is a white, shaggy mushroom that contains two families of compounds not found in any other known natural source, hericinones and erinacines. These compounds are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is the protective filter that separates your brain from your bloodstream. And once they get across, they do something extraordinary. They stimulate the production of nerve growth factor, NGF for short. NGF is essentially a protein that tells your brain's stem cells to grow, multiply, and repair. As you age, NGF production drops dramatically, which is one of the core reasons why cognitive decline, memory issues, and neurological slowing become more common after 60. But here's what most people don't know. NGF doesn't just affect your brain. NGF receptors exist throughout your peripheral nervous system, in your gut, in your heart, and in the tissue surrounding your skeletal muscles. When lion's mane drives NGF upward, the regenerative effects ripple outward through your entire body. The clinical data is remarkable. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study published in Phytotherapy Research, widely considered the gold standard of research design, followed 30 adults aged 50 to 80 with mild cognitive impairment. The group taking 3 grams of lion's mane powder daily for 16 weeks showed cognitive test scores that were 26.8% higher than the placebo group by the end of the trial. Even more striking, when the supplementation stopped, scores declined back toward baseline within 4 weeks, proving the effect was real and directly caused by the mushroom. A follow-up study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that erinacines increased NGF synthesis in the brain by up to 60% above baseline levels. On the metabolic side, a 2019 study in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences found that lion's mane supplementation significantly reduced adipose tissue, that's your stored body fat, by inhibiting the differentiation of preadipocytes into mature fat cells. In plain English, it makes it harder for your body to create new fat cells while making it easier for existing fat cells to be broken down. Participants in the study showed a measurable reduction in fat cell formation of approximately 40% compared to the control group. For coffee preparation, use a dual extract lion's mane powder. This is critical. A dual extract means the powder has been processed with both hot water and alcohol extraction, which ensures you're getting both the water-soluble beta-glucans and the fat-soluble compounds like hericinones and erinacines. A single extraction powder only gives you half the benefit. Add 1 full teaspoon to your morning coffee. The taste is mild and slightly savory. Most people describe it as almost unnoticeable in coffee. Take it every single day without exception. NGF stimulation is cumulative, and continuous daily use is what separates people who get dramatic results from those who notice nothing. And now, the one you've been waiting for. The powder that researchers have described as the most significant natural stem cell activator ever identified. The science is going to shock you. Number 1. Spermidine, from wheat germ powder. Number 1 is spermidine. And before you react to the name, this compound is genuinely one of the most studied and most exciting longevity molecules of the last 20 years. Spermidine is a natural polyamine, a type of organic compound that exists in every living cell in your body. Your cells produce it naturally, but production decreases steeply with age. By your 60s, your internal spermidine levels can be 60 to 80% lower than they were in your 20s. And that drop, according to a rapidly growing body of research, is directly tied to the speed of aging, the decline of stem cell activity, and the accumulation of body fat in older adults. Here's the mechanism that makes spermidine unlike anything else on this list. Spermidine is the most potent known natural activator of autophagy. Autophagy, which literally means self-eating, is the process by which your cells identify, break down, and recycle damaged components. Think of it as your body's internal quality control system. It removes broken proteins, damaged organelles, and cellular debris that would otherwise accumulate and cause dysfunction. When autophagy is running efficiently, your cells stay clean, young, and functional. When it slows down, as it does with age, cellular garbage builds up, inflammation rises, stem cells go dormant, and metabolism slows. The 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded specifically for the discovery of autophagy mechanisms, which should tell you how significant this process is. Now here's the 1000x number you heard in the title, and it's real. A landmark study published in the journal Cell Reports found that spermidine treatment in aged animal models resulted in stem cell reactivation rates up to 1,000 times greater than controls. Not 1,000%, 1,000 times. The mechanism was directly tied to autophagy. When autophagy was artificially blocked, the stem cell reactivation effect disappeared entirely, confirming the pathway. A 2021 human clinical trial published in the journal Aging found that older adults who took spermidine-rich wheat germ extract daily for 12 months showed measurable improvements in memory performance, and brain imaging revealed preserved hippocampal volume, a direct sign of neurological stem cell maintenance, compared to the placebo group, whose hippocampal volume decreased over the same period. The fat-burning effects are equally impressive. Autophagy directly governs how your cells process lipids, fats. When autophagy rates are high, your cells are more efficient at breaking down fat for energy through a process called lipophagy. A study in the journal Autophagy found that spermidine supplementation increased lipophagy rates by approximately 38% in older subjects, leading to measurable reductions in visceral fat, the dangerous fat that accumulates around your organs, over a 16-week period. Another study published in Nature Communications found that mice supplemented with spermidine had significantly reduced adiposity and improved metabolic markers, with the effects becoming more pronounced the older the subjects were. On cardiovascular health, a large epidemiological study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that followed over 800 adults for 20 years found that those with the highest dietary intake of spermidine had a 40% lower risk of cardiovascular mortality compared to those with the lowest intake. That is an extraordinary association for a single dietary compound. The richest natural food source of spermidine is raw wheat germ, and you can get it in powder form quite easily. To add it to your coffee, use 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw wheat germ powder per cup. It has a mild, slightly nutty flavor that blends well with any style of coffee. For maximum absorption, pair it with a small amount of healthy fat, coconut oil, ghee, or whole milk, because spermidine uptake is enhanced in the presence of dietary lipids. Take it in the morning consistently, every day. Research shows that the autophagy-boosting effects of spermidine peak at around 14 to 16 hours after consumption, meaning a morning dose gives your body the best window for cellular cleanup while you sleep. It may take 4 to 6 weeks before you notice the most obvious effects: better energy, clearer thinking, easier fat loss, but the cellular work is happening from day one. So there you have it. 4 powders that are quietly sitting in health food stores and online shops while some of the world's top researchers publish study after study confirming what they can do. Ashwagandha tackles the cortisol problem that's been silently suppressing your stem cells. Moringa lights up your mitochondria and makes your metabolism dramatically more efficient at burning fat. Lion's mane crosses the blood-brain barrier and drives nerve growth factor to levels your brain hasn't seen in decades. And spermidine, #1 for a reason, activates autophagy at a level that sends stem cell reactivation into territory that almost defies belief. None of these require a prescription. None require you to change your diet or your exercise routine. They just require a cup of coffee and 30 seconds of your morning. Start with 1, give it 6 weeks, and watch what happens. The science has done the heavy lifting. Now it's finally your turn. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these 4 powders are you most excited to try first? And have you already noticed any changes in your energy or metabolism? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.